Another system takes shape and heads towards Michigan in the Thursday to Saturday time frame. A very messy, complicated forecast here. Just in brief, we're going to cover the lower peninsula first and the upper peninsula afterwards. Now, breaking this down, the lower peninsula is mostly going to see rain, with the exception of the lake effect snow prone areas in western and northwestern Michigan. Up to about an inch of rain is going to fall. And then, as far as lake effect goes, the further north you are, the better chances you are at getting snowfall upwards of 4 to 6 inches, possibly. But for the majority of West Michigan, we're going to be getting around 1 to 3 with isolated 4, maybe 5 in spots that get banding and stuff setting up, stuff that we can't predict this far in advance. As far as a UP goes, the northern and western parts of the UP, especially, we could see a foot of snow in some spots, maybe some more. I think a foot is a good maximum with maybe a little bit isolated higher amounts possible. Some of the models are kind of split on. They kind of split the UP in half. The northern part gets a foot, and the southern half gets an inch. So the cutoff is going to be very sharp. So it's a very complicated forecast to go over. And that's just going to be the gist of it. But we're going to dive into some models really quickly. So if you're interested in seeing what models are saying, stick around. But that's what we're talking about, majority of the forecast. So that starts on Thursday and then into Saturday. It starts as rain and then kind of changes over to snow as we get into the later parts, in the early parts of the weekend. So jumping into some models, we're going to take a look at two models very quickly. Or at least we're going to try to go through it quickly. The NAM, you can kind of see this is snowfall. We're going to switch over really quick to precipitation types. You can kind of see what rains, what snows at what time. Jump ahead here into the Thursday morning time frame. This is 8 o'clock on Thursday morning. You can kind of see it starts to rain up there in the UP. That will overshadow into the lower peninsula as the afternoon goes on. Excuse me. And then around evening time when the sun sets, the UP should change over to all snow. And then as that continues off to the northeast, that low pressure center right there over northern Michigan kind of lifts off to the north and east, and then also brings in some lake effect snow for the western parts of Michigan, while still the UP is engulfed in snow, moderate to heavy at times. Now that's going to go off to the east northeast, and then as we get into the day and the night, into the night on Saturday morning, Friday night, Saturday morning, into the afternoon on Saturday, you can kind of see this lake effect kind of hangs around here in western Michigan, still snowing up there in the UP. So as a result, over here to the snowfall accumulation, as a result, you can kind of see here going forward, pretty big snow response there up in Canada, and then the northern part of the UP. This is where I was talking about where it kind of splits. Yeah, we're talking 6, 9, 7, 12, 13, 15, 17. I think that's a little bit too high. The response from NAM is a little bit more aggressive usually anyway, so it has a kind of like a bias there. So we think about a foot is maximum in some spots. But down here in the southern part of the UP, we're getting 2, 3, 1/2 inch. So it's going to depend on where that snow rain line kind of shapes up there to begin with, but also the track of the low. And it's been pretty consistent here in splitting the UP. So it's a very tough forecast. So we're going to say northern half is more probable to see higher amounts, lower half, not as probable. One more model to look at here, that's the GFS. GFS, same thing, precipitation, and once it loads in, as you can start to see, this is 8 o'clock tomorrow right here, raining in the UP, switch over to snow, raining in the lower peninsula, heavy snow up there in the UP. That kind of sticks around, lake effect on the backside of it. Lake effect hangs around West Michigan. Now, looking around, this is also Saturday. This is Saturday afternoon now, so I know I kind of went through that quickly. I apologize, but I'm trying to get through this video, make it quick as possible. The snow up there hangs around between Thursday evening and it's still snowing Saturday morning. So that's just a little bit of a time frame. And for the lower peninsula, it looks to rain Thursday afternoon and evening and switch over to snow Friday morning. And then that lasts through the day off and on. So lake effect prone areas along the western part of lower Michigan, be prepared for snow bands and whiteout conditions. Winds will be a factor as well, gusting 45 up to 45 miles per hour. And as far as the snow response in the GFS, you can kind of see it's more aggressive in covering most of the UP in about 8 to 12 inches of snow, then also a little bullseye up here in northwestern Michigan and the lower peninsula of 6 inches. We think that along the lakeshore here, we could see anywhere of 2 to 4, upwards of 5 in some spots. And other spots could be, an inch or two. It's just going to depend on if you can get under a snow band. And that's really going to depend on where they're going to set up. It's not something we can predict this far in advance. Now, one more thing to look at for you guys in the lower peninsula, a little bit of lesser concern, is rainfall. We're going to find the precip accumulation in areas that snow will not. We're going to have rain, and that's going to be through Saturday at 8 p.m. Around here in the most parts of eastern Michigan, inch, no, sorry, half inch, quarter inch, just rainfall, moderate at times. Nothing that's going to warrant flooding concerns, but something just to keep an eye on in case we get under a few heavy bands of rain. Some localized ponding of water is possible, but no significant flooding is expected. Another area to watch would be up in the thumb of Michigan. That could be prone to lake effect snow as well. It's just a little bit too early to tell. So if you're up here in the thumb of Michigan, Bay City area over to the Deckerville, those areas are also lake effect prone. So none of the models have snow at that point, but just be prepared for it just in case it does happen. We'll have a more detailed forecast coming out later. It's a little bit more complicated, so we want to make a video just to explain everything, but that's the gist of it. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask us. And then, as always, stay subscribed to our Patreon for detailed forecast discussions, our YouTube page, and also our Facebook page for any updates to these systems. So thanks, guys, for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something. And like I said, if you guys have questions, feel free to ask. Thanks, guys, for watching. Have a good day.